Hey guys, it's been a while. It's been at least 3 weeks since we got into the recording studio. Just one of them crazy months. So we finally made it happen. We're going to update you guys on what we've been doing, which has mainly been cooking and sausage making. As most of you know, we've had a pretty good season. So we're spending more time in the kitchen, which is kind of cool. And we're learning lots doing that. So you'll hear what we've been up to. We're also going to go through some emails. We got some questions submitted to us. I think we chose 3 to go over in this episode, so we'll do our best to answer those. We'd also like to invite you guys to send in your own questions. All of our contact information is on our website. It's therookihunter.com. We're open to show ideas. Even if you want to just check in, say hi, send us some of your hunting photos. Whatever you like, we really love hearing from you guys, so don't be shy, send us an email. We're on Instagram quite a bit, so feel free to follow us there. Just search for the Rookie Hunter Podcast. I'm sure we'll come up. I know I asked this quite a bit, but if you don't mind, please consider heading over to the iTunes store and leaving us a rating and review. Those help us out a lot, and that's all we ask in return for listening to the show. To everyone who's done it already, thank you very much. We read everything. Love hearing your guys' feedback, so please keep those coming. So, you know what to do. Sit back, relax, crack a cold beer, and enjoy episode 22 of The Rookie Hunter. Mr. Molnar, it is November 21st. We haven't done any hunting since the last episode.
No hunting,
but I don't feel bad about it. I haven't been itching to get out. Have you at all?
No, because there's a lot of work that you have to do when you get all the meat in the freezer, and then you take it out of the freezer, and there's thawing. My wife's getting kind of upset because I had 7 days. Actually, it was almost 2 weeks of just straight hogging the fridge to unthaw all these big bags, like 15-pound bags of meat.
Nice.
So I was kind of doing 2 at a time. I'd remove all the shelves, compress everything in the fridge down, and then I'd leave that in there for a few days, take it out, put another bag in. Kept doing that.
I think the last time we did a podcast, it's been a little while now. It's been at least 3 weeks, I think. At that point, I think I had ruined my wife's KitchenAid. I've since fixed it. I got a new gear for it, put it all back together, and it works, so that's
nice.
Good. But it ended up that you ended up, your grinder came in like a day after. So we were scrambling because I messed up the KitchenAid. And then we went over to my sister-in-law's place and used her KitchenAid. We didn't wreck that one, which was good. Actually, it was that afternoon, I think, that your grinder came in. So if we just waited a day, we could have avoided all this disaster.
Yeah.
Which grinder did you end up with?
Yeah, so I guess I've had it long enough where I feel like I can do a little bit of a review on it. But it's a LEM 0.35 horsepower megabyte grinder.
Nice.
So, on the horsepower side, I think it's a little bit low. Like some people get the 0.5 or the 0.75, and then the commercial guys go like 1 horsepower or higher.
Okay.
But this is a number 8 grinder too, but I think it's awesome. Especially, it's got the megabyte auger, which kind of grabs more meat and makes up for that horsepower differential there. But it's all metal. It's heavy duty. It weighs like 40 something pounds.
Nice.
And it just flies through everything that I've put at it so far.
Sweet.
And we're kind of like splitting everything 50-50.
Yeah.
So I think if you're doing like, I don't know, 4 or 5 animals a year, there's no reason to get anything bigger than this.
I don't think so either.
And if you're splitting those animals with somebody, then it's even easier, right? I mean, depending on what kind of gear everybody has, but
for sure.
You don't want to go crazy. I was looking at some of them, and they're just massive.
Yeah, it's like anything we've talked about as far as gear, you can get carried away. Yeah. I haven't had a chance. Our plan was to grind some meat together over the weekend, but I guess the meat you took out a little premature, and when you got back from you were away for a couple of days, it was thawed and ready to go. So
Yeah.
I felt bad because I was working that night and you were at home cutting it all up and grinding it all on your
Yeah.
own. But
Well, that was the meat we had in those apple bags, like with the elk. So, yeah, I took those out thinking it was going to take longer. And then within about 3 days, they were ready to take them out. And they were just kind of filling up with the juice and the blood from the meat. And I didn't want it just sitting in there for another 2 days. But it's fine. Like, once you get it all ready to go, it only takes, like, I don't know, how much would it have taken? I probably had 30 pounds of meat. And to put it through the first coarse grind, it was probably like 5 or 10 minutes.
Right.
All 30 pounds.
Nice.
And then you throw on your other fine grind disc, shovel it all through there again, another 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So once you get to that stage, it's super fast.
Nice.
It's just,
all the prep work. Yeah.
well, it turns out those 2 bags were actually full of front leg meat. So
Yeah, we
it
should.
just takes a lot of work to, I think we were getting tired. Like there was a big group of us trimming out that animal. So the front legs, I recommend doing the front legs first whenever you start cleaning an animal.
Get them over with.
Yeah, because it takes it's a lot more intricate depending on how detailed you want to get with it.
I think next time we don't even bother taking the meat off and just cut them into little chunks with the bone on.
Yeah.
What do you call those cuts?
Ossobuco or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. And then just keep them like that because the front legs are such a pain in the ass. Elk is not as bad, but deer and that, it's just like, it's almost not even worth dealing with it. Just either do that or just cut it off in chunks and throw it in it.
I'm kind of interested to do a front leg roast, like a shoulder roast. So like just cut it off right at the bottom of the shoulder there and just throw that whole thing in a big crock pot.
For sure.
Or a cast iron pot. That'd be awesome.
Definitely. So yeah, we've I think we already talked, we made quite a few sausages. We've ground a ton of meat. I've made a few different things. I did a meatloaf. I think I talked about that already. But I did some elk burgers last week. All I did was season them with salt and pepper, and shit, they were good.
Yeah?
Really good. Yeah.
What about texture wise?
Fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not dry or anything?
No, not at all. I was paranoid again because some of the things you and I both have had this sort of experiences of overcooking the elk already a little bit, but it's nice because we have 10% back fat in there as well. Yeah. But what I did, opposite to what happened with the sausages, I cranked up the heat on the grill, got it super hot, threw the burgers on there, and almost like seared them that way. And then only like 5 minutes per side, if that, and they were perfect. So I just let them rest for a bit. And Ashley loved them. She brought one to work the next day too, and said everyone was jealous because it looked so good. Yeah. So those were.
And I guess just to clarify, we're not mixing any pork meat into our meat. It's just straight back fat.
Yeah, they call it fat back, but it's back fat. I don't know why they. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, but it's back fat. Fat back is back fat. Yeah. So yeah, it's just 10%. And that stuff's really easy to deal with. You can go to any butcher. What I found out when I was going around to a lot of these butcher shops is some of them just throw it away at the end of the day. Some of them use it for their own stuff. So you, in some instances, you probably should call ahead and order it. But I got lucky at that one place. They had a bunch, so So it was good. But it is nice to check out where you're getting it from too, because you're dealing with like really nice organic meat. And if you're throwing in pork, that's kind of full of antibiotics and shit like that. So try and find a good...
Find what the microphone is.
Find out where the farm is that it's coming from if you want to keep that sort of organic feel going with your meat. So what else have we done? We brought some stuff to get in.
The ground elk is amazing because, like, if you got people that aren't totally into wild game yet, you don't even have to tell them. But if you do tell them, I suggest you probably do. They'll get mad sometimes if you don't. But
it's tempting.
You put it in a lasagna, you won't even know.
Oh yeah, we made the lasagna. That was good.
Yeah, lasagna. I've got a big thing of elk chili.
Nice.
that we made yesterday.
Sweet.
So we used about 1.5 pounds of elk for that. What else? Oh, I made elk borscht,
All right.
and that's a Hank Shaw recipe. So he's got a new book out called Buck Buck Moose, and I think I tweeted, or there's a picture on Instagram of the cover of that book. Highly recommended. The only thing with that recipe is you got to allow enough time for the meat to break down depending on what cut you use.
Right.
So I just like cut it up all into cubes and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I was really, I didn't give myself enough time to let that meat really break down and get soft. It was kind of around the 3-hour mark,
Oh, yeah.
I think, when that started to happen. And then, yeah, it's just super hearty, super, like, very purple.
Nice.
It's got all the beets in there. 100 times better with a little bit of sour cream on top.
Oof. Fuck, I'm hungry right now.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then what else? We went to local meat shop here, Mission Meats.
We decided to bring some stuff in. As much as we enjoy doing our own stuff, we decided to get some pepperoni and farmer sausages made at Mission Meats here in Kelowna. We'll give those guys a shout out to anyone who's in the area. I definitely recommend checking them out. I've always bought their pepperoni. Like, we bring it on all of our hunts, so it's just their regular pepperoni that they sell in the store. So we figured, well, they've got that mastered, so I'm sure if we brought in some wild game, it's probably going to be pretty good. And I'd say it's pretty tasty.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Super happy with it.
Yeah, I've already passed it out to a few people, and they love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fair prices, good pepperoni.
Yeah, it was not that expensive, really.
Yeah.
So we've got, I guess between the two of them, we've got about close to 50 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
It's like 20, well, just like 22 pounds of it. Once it's all dried out, it kind of changes, but
Yeah. Yeah, we had a whitetail and the mule deer.
yeah.
The trim that we brought in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. So we got so much meat. I'm just kind of losing track, but I think this is what we've got. So the trimming from my mule deer went to the pepperoni.
Yep.
Your whitetail that we got, the Kootenays, ended up being farmer's sausage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that pretty much used up all of it, right? More or less.
Yeah, most part.
There's a little bit of some good cuts left over.
Yeah.
And then, so we still got a bunch of roasts left over from my mule deer, and we've got a bunch of extra trim and some stuff from your mule deer.
Yep.
And all the elk. So that's a lot of meat.
But even still, like, so how much we brought in? About 40 to 45 pounds of meat into Mission Meats.
Then they add an extra 10%.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say 50 pounds of meat.
Yeah.
You get that back in boxes. You lose 5 pounds off the start because they smoke it, dry it, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at all this meat going, holy crap, this is a lot. And we split it, right?
Yeah.
But once you split it and you kind of walked out of the house and you're looking at it, you're like, well, we could have actually went 100% pepperoni, like just 50 pounds straight pepperoni.
Yeah.
And even that wouldn't have been excessive. And you have a lot to kind of just like, Christmas holidays are coming up. You're going to use a lot over that.
Yeah.
And then giving some out to your family or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like we were saying last time, we've always been like, I feel like we've always had enough for ourselves. But once you start thinking about giving a little bit away, then you start wishing that you kind of had double.
Right. We could, if we wanted to, we could get some more pepperoni made with the extra trim that's left from yours or whatever. And then, I'm kind of prepared. The pepperoni and the farmer sausage, that's kind of like what I'm going to use to share and give away and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff I'm going to hoard.
That's fair. But I just for, I guess, the people that haven't brought stuff down to a processor before, if you're kind of thinking, well, what does a 25-pound batch look like?
Yeah.
If it's just for you and it's all pepperoni, that's pretty good size batch.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get a box of sticks.
Well, didn't
pepperoni
he,
sticks back.
we never counted them, but he thought it would be like 100 sticks of pepperoni or something like that. I don't think it was that many, but
Yeah, well, these sticks are kind of
They're
like
huge.
2 foot long too,
Yeah.
and they're about an inch diameter almost.
Mhm.
Not quite, but pretty close.
So yeah, needless to say, it was a lot,
Yeah,
but it's not a lot at the same time.
yeah. So
Anyways, if we do go out and we see a nice whitetail, I think we'll probably go for it. Bow season comes back in here too at the end of the month, so I think I could be wrong. I'll check. I know mule deer come back, and then I think no, maybe I'm wrong.
I
should check.
think it's just whitetail.
I think it goes to any antlerless.
I'll tell you in a sec.
Okay. Yeah. Disclaimer: we always check, but you have to keep checking those things constantly to remember, because it's every couple of weeks it's changing here.
Yeah, and we're thinking like we're always talking region 8 usually.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, yeah, man, lots of good things we've been eating. I'm super happy this season, and definitely want to go out just for the sake of going out. And if we see a nice buck, or if we can go out with the bows and I can get a whitetail doe, then I'd be open to that, I think.
You're right. Mule deer comes back bull only.
Yep.
November 25th. So
Nice.
this Friday.
Oh, sweet.
And then whitetail is still open.
Is it 4-point muley for
No,
any buck?
it's just mule deer bucks.
Nice.
And then whitetail is still open for rifle. But then as of December 1st, it's just mule deer bow only for bucks, and whitetail either sex bow only.
Sweet.
And I think that goes about to the 12th, or
Yeah, somewhere around there.
mule deer ends on the 10th, and then whitetail ends on the
Yeah, so we're
20th.
wow.
Yeah.
Crazy. So it's wrapping up here, but yeah, I'm feeling.
Start planning for next year. What do you think?
Let's-
What's your top of your list?
Garrett and I were talking about this on Saturday. Actually, we were texting back and forth, and him and I both really want to get a mountain goat.
Yeah, I want to get one too.
Yeah, and I'm interested now that we've got an elk. A moose would be great. So we have to apply for
Yeah.
limited entry. I'd still like to get a bear.
Yep.
Limited entry is open for grizzly bears right now. I'm not ready for that one, I don't think yet.
No, I don't think I'm ready for that either.
And
I kind of like to get,
a black bear first
yeah.
before we're dealing with a monster. And if anybody heard our episode with Jesse Zeman, he was telling us how good grizzly bear is. So we were under the impression that it wasn't. So these are the cool things you learn as you go along, because we thought the same thing for black bear. Found out they're pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of things that to consider for that, but same for grizzly bear. So that's not a trophy hunt. That would be another. Well, the only reason why we're doing it is for meat. So maybe in a couple of years down the road we can check out something like that. But
Yeah. And goat is for meat too. It's just that there's the terrain you got to go to get them is kind of one of
Intense.
the driving factors in why people hunt mountain goat.
yeah, and that's one of the things we're going to have to discuss is when we want to go back to the Kootenays, if we want to go for mountain goat, because we were too late this year.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. You're dealing with high mountain ranges, so we could have got lucky and been all right that time around. And we could go early in September and still get snow up there. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think what we're gonna do for the rest of the episode here, because we haven't been doing much other than cooking, is we've got a bunch of emails. We're gonna read a few of them. We won't get to all of them, but we've got 3 here for sure that we want to go through. So the first one, actually, let's go. This guy never left his name. He wrote us from the States. And let me find his email. So he's wondering if we know what it takes for someone in the States to hunt in BC. He was also wondering if we'd want to come and hunt elk in North Idaho. So I'd say yes to both of those. So I sent him a bunch of links, and anyone who wants to find out more about hunting in BC to look up our hunting regulations or the synopsis that you can find. But Kelly's gone ahead and done all the research for you guys. So anyone who's in the States, Cal, what do they need to do?
So basically, I'm kind of just paraphrasing out of the, basically you want to go to the regulations, the BC hunting regulations, and there's a whole section there on non-residents. But basically, so a non-resident is anybody that isn't from BC, the province.
Mm-hmm.
Non-resident alien is someone that isn't from Canada.
Right.
But they all have to follow the regulations. They must be accompanied by a licensed BC guide or a resident who holds a permit to accompany.
Right.
So my understanding is for a person to hold a permit to accompany, it has to be a person that is a resident, and you have to have had a hunting license for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
I think it's shorter if you have your core. So you only say I wanted to get a permit to accompany.
Yep.
So I could bring somebody in from the U.S. I would have to have a species license for three of the 5 years preceding the application, or 2 of the 5 years preceding the application if I had my core, which I do.
Interesting.
So there's a little bit of a requirement there, and I would only get one of those permits per year. So I could only bring one person over per year.
So if we want to take 2 guys, we'd both have to get those permits, obviously.
For professional guides, they can only have 2 hunters out in the field at once.
Okay.
So that's something else to consider. Another way you can get in with a permit to accompany is if you are accompanied by a father, son, uncle, like family relationship.
Cool.
But again, they need to get a permit. That excludes cousins.
Okay.
So otherwise you can go through the guiding service, right?
Yeah. So I think these are all listed on I had wrote down for this guy. I think it's on pages 10 to 12. It outlines all the fees and stuff like that. So just give guys an example of what it would cost for them to go after a deer.
Yeah, like say I had a brother down in Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to come up. I'd have to get a permit to accompany so that he could use that. And then the hunting license for him, he'd have to buy a hunting license just like we do.
Yep.
His would cost $180. And then on top of that, depending on what the species is that he wants to hunt, he had to buy a species license. So it's for deer, mule deer, or whitetail, it's $125.
Right.
So you're already looking at that. My impression is that if you wanted to hunt something like a moose, you would have to go to a professional guide for that because they're getting a allotment of those tags, right? The only way we can get those tags is through the LEH, and non-residents can't use that.
Yeah, and our odds aren't even that great. The guys are getting more. So if you're interested in that kind of a hunt, you definitely want to check out a guide.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I wasn't too sure, I don't know if you found anything about this, but for transporting wild game back. Because there's got to be, if you go across the border back into the States with a dead deer in your trunk, they might ask some questions.
Yeah, no, I'm not too sure about that one. I know there's royalties that you have to pay if you're taking animals under a permit to accompany. So whether it's guided or not, you have to get a permit to accompany. They'll take care of that for you usually.
Right.
But within 30 days of when the hunt ends, that permit holder pays for each of the animals taken by the non-resident.
Right.
So there's that. I'm not really sure what those costs are, what they amount to, but it's another technicality.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bunch of things. You just got to do your research.
For sure. And whatever port you're going through, I would check with them beforehand, let them know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's always good even too if you have if you're talking to somebody, find out what their name is so that you can say, I talked to such and such and this is what he told me. We're transporting an animal. Yeah. Just know what to expect rather than just showing up at the border and kind of hoping for the best. But
yeah. So we're not authorities on this, so I'd recommend reviewing it before you go through any of this. But the other side note is small game. it's not necessary for any non-resident of BC to be accompanied by a guide when hunting small game, including game birds. So that's
cool. That's pretty sweet. So yeah, I think that covers all of that. Just make sure you do all your research before you come up. Was there anything else you wanted to add to that one? No.
No.
We got a few more emails. One from a guy named Shane. He's catching up. He just listened to episode 13 with Jesse Zeman, which is one of our favorites. It's full of tons of information. I learned a ton just from that hour chat we had with Jesse. Mm-hmm. So he's asking if Fish and Wildlife funding is the number one issue in BC. Is there anything actionable that the average guy can do about this? So he went on to say that he buys his fishing license, his hunting license, and tags, but what else can he do? So what would you recommend, Kelly?
I'd say the best thing you could do is join your local game club. I mean, that's going to provide the platform for the communication, and those guys are already in contact with the BC Wildlife Federation and all those folks that are kind of fighting that battle. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and so you get memberships through that when you sign up with most game clubs. I know the one you signed up with, you ended up with one. So I
think that's the best thing, and the easiest way to get in to that crowd is just join a local game club.
For sure.
But I mean, there's other things you could do, write emails and letters to your MPs and all that stuff, and scour the internet for all your data. And
I anticipate that we'll have Jesse in again at some point. Mm-hmm. Maybe in a few months or something like that. We'll follow up with him and do another one, because I'm sure we could talk to him for hours and hours and hours. But I kind of came out of that podcast thinking the same too. Is the same thing. It's just what else can we do? But I think doing a podcast like this helps, and getting involved in conversations, and like you said, reaching out and contacting people, and just finding out what you can do. So,
well, and we know from that podcast too that the amount of hunters is going up in this province. So if those hunters also join game clubs, and there's just a bigger voice,
definitely,
which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we need it. While we're on this topic, we've already talked about the whole social media and stuff like that, but I don't know if you saw in the news, Kelly, on one it's called the Mission Park Greenway, which is a pretty well used.
I did see that.
People run and bike and exercise and everything. It's this big, long system of trails that's really nice, and it gets a lot of use. So I think it was a couple nights ago, somebody found a dead doe, and they were speculating that it was shot with a firearm, but it could have been shot with a bow. I don't really know. Mm-hmm. But anyways, this thing landed right on the trail, and a whole bunch of people saw it, and of course it ended up in the news, and then they shared it on, I saw the news on their actual website, and then I was curious, and I should go see what they posted on Facebook and read some of the comments, and I was kind of disappointed that obviously there's going to be the people who are against hunters, and they were commenting, and there was hunters that were commenting back, but they were more so arguing with these people rather than just trying to sort of lay down some of the facts or some of the potential issues that could have led to this. But I think there needs to be a clear distinction between hunters and poachers, right? And rather than saying you're on this team or that team, when I see that, I'm not happy about it either. I know that there could have been a few factors that led to that. It might have been a mistake. Youth hunting is open for
does.
So,
and is there still limited entry for does that would be open right now?
There could be. Yeah,
it's possible. I don't know for sure.
And people are able to hunt on their property. I don't know exactly where this thing was. So somebody had a big acreage. They're legally allowed to hunt on their farmland with a bow. Would have been fine. It's
within city limits. So
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. I should double check that.
Because what I was thinking is, if you look at, for the folks that aren't familiar, you look at Mission Creek on a Google map of Kelowna, and it's pretty central. So I was trying to figure out, okay, local hunting areas, how far would this thing have had to have gone to die there?
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, but if they can use a bow, and there are a lot of farms and stuff around there.
Yeah.
If they can use a bow to hunt, it would have been a youth too.
Yeah.
Which is possible. But
Farmers are able to deem them as like nuisance deer, and they're
Yeah.
allowed to deal with them however they want. So
Right.
a bow would be allowed, a firearm you wouldn't be able to fire off within city limits like
Yeah.
that. So it's possible
yeah.
that it was either a youth or it was a farmer or whatever. So
Yeah. It's also possible that deer could have traveled a long ways. The
Could have.
wound looked pretty far back.
it was far back. Yeah.
And the other thing, like, this is kind of what bugs me about, because a lot of the folks that are reporting on the news on this type of stuff, they aren't hunters, but they're the ones with the pen, right?
And they know they want people to click on this shit. They want people to comment on
So
it.
it
So
stirs it up.
they totally know what they're getting into. So
Yeah.
it's kind of irresponsible on their part too.
But did you see at I think it was at the bottom of the article, it said that people are sure that they were waiting till dark so that they could come and get it.
retrieve it, yeah.
It's like, well,
How do you know that?
I don't know. Where did you get that idea?
Mm-hmm.
Because really, those people could still be on their farm doing a full blown scouting to see where that thing ended up, and they
Yeah.
might have no idea that it ended up down on the greenway.
For sure.
So, I don't know. I thought that was a bit presumptuous, if that's a
Speculating.
word.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, what do you guys want? Any hunter, it's when you see stuff like that, don't get mad. Just try and go on there and inform people. Don't start arguments.
Mhm.
Don't make fun of vegans. Just make it clear that these kind of things concern you as a hunter as well, and also let them know that there are some things that could have led to that. If it's not within season, then it's clearly poaching, and none of us are, the probably 99.9% of hunters
Mhm.
in BC are not going out and poaching animals. There's only a small few guys. So,
Yeah.
anyways, do your part to kind of help inform other people rather than arguing with them, because it just makes us look bad as a whole. So,
Yeah. And we got to be super careful when we're hunting close to. It's kind of like out of sight, out of mind.
mhm.
And when it's pretty tough to be out of mind when it's right on the most popular
Exactly.
running trail in
Yeah.
Kelowna, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe, like you say, it could have been close by, but
Who knows?
I mean, from what I saw in the picture, it looked like a decent shot. It was just like vertically up and down. It was a decent shot. It was just horizontally too far,
There's quite
about a foot too far back.
at least a foot. Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows?
Mm-hmm. Anyways, got off topic there. I think we answered Shane's question. We got an email from Mark. Here, there's kind of two parts to this message. So he was telling us to check out a thing called Eat Wild. I think the website was eatwild.ca. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a great resource for anybody in the Lower Mainland. I went and checked out the website. They offer all kinds of, they do your core training and all that kind of stuff. And I think they do stuff for kids and for women. And so it's kind of a cool thing. So anyone in the Lower Mainland can go and check it out. And I think what he was saying, I don't have the email open in front of me here, but was that he took his kid and his wife there or something like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's pretty cool. What else did
he
you have?
also said he's learning to homebrew his own beer,
Nice.
which he said can almost get as addicting as hunting, which I don't doubt. So maybe
Now
maybe
that
we should wait a year
I
or
know
two.
I love that idea. Like I'm 100% behind that one.
Yeah.
But I think you and I should probably save ourselves the grief of getting in more trouble, because I've already destroyed my wife's KitchenAid. You've been filling your fridge full of raw meat. So if we added beer making to this equation and filled
Yeah.
your garage with more stuff, they might get a little annoyed.
It's a good idea, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. 2 years from now, maybe we'll
Yeah.
do that. What else was in that one?
So Mark also talked about the fitness,
Yeah. So
backcountry fitness.
he sent us a link to, he put a post asking guys for advice in the forum. So he told us to go check it out. So what he wrote in the forum was, after a horrible hunting season, I've decided that what has worked in the past no longer is working. For the next hunting season, I want to hike and hunt a lot more, which is a majority of what Kelly and I do. So I think that's why he was asking this. So what his question was to us and to everybody in the forum, was what do they do to get in shape for hike hunting? So he wants to get into the backcountry. So he's wondering about, putting weights in the pack and all that kind of stuff rather than running. He says he's currently overweight and very out of shape. So I figure he has a year to get ready. Any tips would be appreciated. So you and I weren't really on a strict exercise routine. I wouldn't call us athletes. I would never call us athletes, but we sort of spent the whole year kind of exactly what he's talking about, getting ready for the hunting season. So we didn't want to have anything that would slow us down, or get in our way or hinder us in any way, to ruin what could have been a successful hunt, right? So you were going, I think you were putting weight in your pack. I have a very active dog, and he's one of the reasons why I got this kind of breed was to get me out. So I have no choice but to take him for a run or a hike every morning. So he's kind of part of my exercise routine. I spend a lot of time going out with my pack in the summertime, just full of weight. All of these things sort of preparing for the hunting season. Also did the Juan de Fuca Trail was part of preparation for backcountry hunting. Yeah, and just trying to be on the trails is, I think, the best way to train. For me, I actually was working with a trainer in the winter of last year, and I gave up on it. I hated it. I couldn't stand being in a gym. A gym just doesn't inspire me. Like, I don't want to go there. I want to be outside. Like, the reason why I hunt is to be outside, so I'd rather be training outside. So I said, forget having a personal trainer, forget getting a gym pass, because I don't really feel there's any motivation for me to go to the gym. I don't know how you feel about going to the gym, but it just...
I always used to.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I kind of always went through spurts. I'd go for 6 months and then I'd not go for 6 months.
Right.
And I go for 6 months and then I'd not go. So it was never, I got into some pretty good routines, but they never lasted forever.
And I think everybody would probably have the same story. Yeah. It's like there's no motivation to really...
Yeah.
It's only up to you to go, right? And it's very easy to say, I don't feel like it. So I would spend more time going on hikes and stuff. And
yeah, that's kind of what I'm like too. I don't know, throw some weight in the pack or do all that kind of stuff. And I think you got to be realistic too about what your actual backcountry hunting goals are. Like, how many miles are we talking?
Yeah.
Because you can, like, I mean, we're thinking you got to pack all that meat back too. So, I mean, we might drive out to a certain location or ATV out as far as we can get and then walk in like 4 miles or 4 kilometers. I think that's kind of standard, is kind of 4K out. Anything beyond that, you got to always be thinking about how far you're packing an animal back.
Yeah, where we got our deer was at least like a good 5K out there and through rough terrain.
Yeah.
So the deer that I got, I had at least probably 110 pounds with the head and my rifle and everything on my back, which was brutal. But had I not been prepared, if I was extremely out of shape, I probably would have risked ruining a lot of that deer, because I think it was over 20 degrees that day. So it was like borderline, like if I didn't get that deer out right away, there was a huge risk of spoiling the meat. And it was just me. I called everybody to help. Luckily, you ended up meeting me at the last couple of kilometers there, but still I had to at least get the meat, all of the meat to that point, you know. So it would be a shame if being out of shape translated into wasting an animal or hurting yourself. I was pretty close. I actually bailed. I've got scars on my arm actually from falling over with that pack on.
No, I think that's probably, I mean, most people are probably going to get in there and they're probably going to get out. But like you said, the consequences are going to be wrecking the meat, hurting yourself. You don't want to end up like having cardiac arrest or... No.
So hunt within your limits and don't get yourself into a situation that's going to get you in trouble for sure.
But he's on the right track.
Yeah.
Like, start thinking about it now. And this is your chance. You got, 10 months
Yeah.
to kind of do a bunch of snowshoeing, maybe cross-country
Yeah.
skiing. That's actually something that I'm going to do a lot more this winter.
Cross-country skiing?
Yeah, we've done that a
Nice.
little bit last year. It seems like every New Year's we go on a cross-country
Yeah.
trip and light a fire up there and have a group of people.
I go out a fair amount, but nobody really has skis except for Ashley and I.
Yeah.
So like for you guys, you have to rent, but you should
Yeah.
get a pair because I love going out and doing that, man.
Yeah. Well, I never realized how much of a full body workout it is.
Oh yeah, for
Like
sure.
even your arms and your shoulders are just going.
For
So
sure.
something
great.
like that in the winter, that'll get you in shape. No
Yeah.
problem.
The other thing I would recommend, because it forces you to actually take action. And what I did was in the springtime, I signed up for that 10K run.
Mm-hmm.
So the pressure's on when you sign up for something. So Mark, if you are into mountain biking or something like that, or if you're open to the idea of running, then sign yourself up for stuff because it really puts pressure on you to do it. Whereas like buying a gym pass, there isn't really any pressure to go to the gym because
Other than just
for your
watching
own
your money
benefits.
going down the gym.
Yeah,
if you don't
exactly.
go.
And that's just a huge bummer. I think it just kills your self-esteem if you're like, shit, I bought this pass, I haven't been going, I just wasted all that money. But for me, this year has been interesting because I signed up for that 10K in the spring. I was not a runner by any means, and to train for that 10K was brutal. I absolutely hated it. Like I've never been a runner. I've never enjoyed it at all. But when I did that 10K, that was the first time I've actually ever ran a full 10 kilometers. And once I knew that I could run that full distance, a switch went off in my head, and all of a sudden I got really into running all of a sudden. So I wanted to keep that going. And what I did was sign up for the Seattle Half Marathon, which is coming up this weekend. So this month I've been running like at least 8 kilometers every day. I do like 8 or 10K runs daily now. And a 10K actually feels normal. Like I can do that, no problem. And then in preparation for next weekend here, when our meet was ready, I ran to Mission Meets there. That ended up being a 17-kilometer run that I did. So I went up over Dilworth Mountain to get some hills in and all the way through downtown out to Lakeshore.
Sweet.
But at the beginning of the year, there's no way I would have ever been able to run 18 kilometers without stopping. So if I can get myself into running as somebody who absolutely hated it, then I think anybody can. And the only reason why I continue to run was because I signed up for this next race. So now I'm already looking for the next thing to sign up for.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'll just stop, I think. I think it's just human nature to quit doing stuff like that unless there's pressure on you.
Yeah, it's
And
hard.
when you're doing a race, if there's all the pressure of everybody else and you're trying to keep up with people and you don't want to pass out in the middle of the field somewhere or whatever because it's going to be embarrassing. But
The other thing you could do is to put pressure on yourself was hunt with people that are doing that type of hunting.
yeah,
Right? That you know that in 6 months when you go on that hunt with those guys, you know where you're going to be and how much you're going to have to push yourself to get there. So that kind of gets you, even for people that don't want to be in the gym, sometimes that's the thing that kicks them in there, right? Is
yeah,
as much as I don't really like the gym either. I was thinking about going, like, because when we were going to go get that elk, we were thinking about mountain goat too, going to the top of these mountains and, guys we're going with are in shape and ready to go. So you don't want to be the guy that's holding the pack back either.
No. Yeah, just set some goals and make it so you can't fail, basically. And then the other thing is just changing your eating habits and stuff like that, which was that was a tough one for me. I would often work really late, get home at like 10 o'clock, and I would eat a bunch of shit before I went to bed. That's a horrible habit. Like actually having routine meals make all the difference. And I don't know, this is all stuff you can look up, but it makes a hell of a difference. So
motivational episode.
Yeah. but again, we're not really qualified to be.
Yeah. We can only talk about what we've experienced.
Yeah, but I think it was good. we succeeded in what we were after, and we were never held back in any way this year. So
Yeah, that's one thing I want to focus on more is the food aspect.
yeah,
Like you get busy with life and work and everything else, and that's kind of the first thing that starts going is just the amount of detail you're putting towards your food.
yeah,
The best thing you can do is just not buy the stuff so you can't reach for it when it's
totally, man.
easy, right?
I completely, I get off. I haven't been that disciplined with it, but totally stop eating sugar, like any kind of processed sugar, anything that has added sugar in it. I totally got rid of. One of the things I still eat is bread, but very seldomly that I do it, and I get like a nice artisan loaf that I'm gonna enjoy or whatever. And pasta, I still do that every once in a while.
Yeah.
But by cutting, it's amazing how much shit has sugar in it. Like absolutely everything has sugar in it, man. It's insane. So like that alone was another discipline thing. I'm like, I want to see if I can do this, because at first it seems almost impossible not to do it. But now I've gotten to a point where I look at sweets and stuff like that, and I'm not interested in them at all.
Right.
And then, yeah, just eating whole foods. And then when you get animals in the freezer, then that's the extra motivation. Now we're eating super clean meat and shit like that too. So
For sure.
yeah. Anyways, it's all
Yeah.
one step at a time. And I think the goal for us is just to keep raising the bar each year. And we're both 31, but that doesn't mean we can't get into even better shape and get into the best shape that we've ever been in. Right. So yeah, I think maybe we should plan for more difficult hikes too, so that we have to push. Anyways,
If you're going to throw weight in your pack, I think we've said this, make sure you have good shoes.
yeah, for sure.
Like you want to support your ankles. Otherwise you'll end up with knee problems and back problems before you even get to hunt, and it'll be frustrating and you wonder why, and it's probably your shoes.
I wrecked my knees when I was running with those barefoot shoes.
Yep.
Destroyed them. So yeah, footwear, man. All right, man. Do we have any other emails?
No, I think that's it. Those were the main ones.
Cool. I wanted to give a shout out to some guys that left reviews for us. There's a guy named his username was Aaron. Left us a recent review. So he came across it. He said he blasted through all of them in a couple of days, which is pretty impressive. I don't know. I couldn't listen to us for that long, so props for him for putting up with us for that long. So he's 36, from the Vancouver area. Just signed up to get his gun license and his course, so he hasn't got out there and done anything yet. But I just wanted to say good luck to him and make sure you go out and get that stuff and follow up with us once you start getting out there and seeing some success. It'd be great to hear from these guys. Yeah. Anyways, thanks for the review. We got another one from a guy named Moose Knuckle 47. Just left a nice one for us there. Yeah, lots of new guys commenting that are in the same situation that Kelly and I were. And nice to hear that, we've made lots of mistakes, so no one else should feel bad for it either. So we appreciate the ratings and reviews. And if you don't mind going to the iTunes store and doing that for us, you can do it right on your phone. Doesn't take long and helps us out. So we've got, should we hint at it, Kelly? A pretty sweet interview lined up sometime soon here.
Potentially.
We haven't set a date yet, but sounds like it's going to happen. We won't say who it is, but it's somebody that you've probably seen somewhere.
Yeah, you guys will hear about it for sure. Hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon here, yeah. So anyways, it's been kind of longer than we would like to leave it for podcasts, but we've been working on lining up other stuff too, but November's just been absolutely nuts for both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like everything kind of... I'm glad that all of this kind of happened later on, because we had actually September, October... yeah, Oscar, what are you doing over there?
Jeez. Come on, man.
September, October was pretty interruption free, eh? Like we got out when we wanted to for the most part, and it got a lot of chances, a lot of animals, and then November hit. It was like boom, no hunting, no podcasts, no.
Yeah.
Like we had a little bit of time to deal with the food, like we were saying, but other than that, it's just been a challenge and a grind. So I'm looking forward to maybe getting out a couple times, and then the holidays, a bit of a time to relax, and then hopefully we can get these interviews going.
For sure. Be good.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah, that's Oscar signing out there. Thanks a lot, guys. Feel free to reach out to us. All of our contact information is on the rookiehunter.com. You can find us there, our email address, if you want to let us know what you've been up to or send us any questions. We'll be glad to read them on the show. And we write back to some of the guys, but we just don't have time for a lot of it, so we do it here. So anyways, if you didn't hear from us, we read it. We appreciate you reaching out. And until next time, happy hunting.
Cheers.
Cheers.